All right, if I get everybody's attention, please. Everybody make their way to their seats. All right, this next block we have here is the Chiefs panel. We have several Chiefs up here. Some are new, some are not, some are. With the Chief panel, please, if you have any questions, as far as career, mentoring, anything like that, this is your opportunity. All right, this is your opportunity. By a show of hands, and I'm just curious, by a show of hands, how many people have brought their records with them here? No, I'm being serious. I'm not trying to be mean, but think about this. You have about 13 Chiefs from your career field here. And nobody thought to bring their records so somebody can review their records and get some type of mentoring while they're here. It's a good opportunity.
I do have one set.
Right. So we have one person that brought their record and wanted the Chief to look at it. There's never going to be another opportunity where you're going to have 13 Chiefs from your career field in one place. All right, for them to review your records. You go from chief to chief and have them review your record and give you feedback on what they see, things that you can work on, how you can progress in your career. So this is a good opportunity to do something like that. That's just a mental note for everybody that's here that are interested in progressing in their career. So we're going to kick this off. I'll introduce myself. I'm just going to facilitate, but we got several outstanding Chiefs here that's willing to answer any of your questions. As for myself, I'm Chief Warren Brown. I've been in the Air Force for 27 and a half years. All right, I've been a training manager for about 24 years. Really? Started out in education, worked in the education office my first 4 years as a CCAF advisor. Then I moved on and did units. I worked in the comm squadron, OSS, but I cut most of my teeth in maintenance training at Little Rock Air Force Base. I also was the first training manager at Global Strike Command. I helped stand up the maintenance training program at Global Strike Command. Before I moved on, I made chief there, and I moved on and went to the FSS for several years. Actually, I was in the FSS here at Lackland for Joint Base San Antonio for several years before moving up to AFPC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the line and have each and every one of our panelists introduce themselves and give you a little bit about their background before we open it up for questions.
Right, I'm Chief Mojica. I'm at ACCA for Langley right now. 20 years in, 10 years of that as a training manager, prior PME instructor, and personnelist, and I loved every opportunity I've been given so far in each of those AFSCs, and I love being in training. So I'm maintenance training majority of my time. I have deployed as a test control officer, and I have worked in the med group at Travis, which is a beast if anyone has done that. So let's see, I think that's about it. I worked with Ms. Howard.
Hey everybody, I'm Chief Haley. I'm currently at the Air Force Inspection Agency. Usually when I come see you, you're happy to see me, not staff. So I've been in 20 years, training manager for 17 of those, retrained right at the 3-year mark. So first squadron was maintenance, and then trans, we don't have that squadron anymore, so then it became LRS. Then went to combat comm for a while, then back to maintenance for a while, then to medical, 59th Med Wing, Defense Language Institute English Learning Center, 37 Training Wing IG, Holloman, back to maintenance, and then now Hurley at FBS. IG.
Hello, Christina Meyers. I'm currently maintenance training at Davis Mountain. Woo, 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 woo. And I've been in for 9.5 years. I'm going on 10 years in training, so loving it so far. And let's see, I started off in FSS, then I moved over to MedProof, and then I've been in maintenance training at TM and Sauna. So I've worked with some of you in all of those locations. Started my career off too as a personality, so really happy to be here.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chief Eric Johnson. I'm currently the EPME Program Chief for ADTC. Thank you. I did a lot of my time at maintenance training. I basically had every maintenance training job you could have. Started off at McGill Air Force Base, then went to Ramstown Air Force Base, and ran the maintenance training section there. Then I was lucky enough to get picked up to be the National Functional Free Safety. It was about 2.5 years there. Then went back to maintenance training. I fell at home at Little Rock Air Force Base, and that's where I'm the chief. And been deployed a couple of times as test control officer. Been in 19 years. I retrained back in 2007. So I've just been enjoying this maintenance training and this education and training ride.
Hi, I'm Senior Sergeant Denise Taylor-Payne. How's everybody doing? Awesome. I've been in the Air Force for 17 years, and I've been in training for 12 years. Let's see, Chief Brown was my first supervisor. As a training manager, which put us in shape. So from there, while I was at Little Rock, I did deploy as a test control officer. I left there and I went to work at the NCO Academy at Tyndall, came back into the career field, came back to Lackland and worked in cyberspace, left there and came and went to Lake and Heath, where I'm the maintenance training superintendent. So it's just been a great time, and if you need anything, just let me know.
Thank you. Hey, good afternoon. My name is Edwin Bridges. Of course, I serve right now as the PACAP functional manager. All right, who my PACAP usually? I'm gonna take this time. That is a beautiful thing. I love all of you. So, this time of maintenance, then I stepped out and was able to serve as an honor guard special duty. I came back, had the opportunity to serve at the ADTC, and then now over at the functional manager. So I look forward to your questions. Please feel free to ask anything. I'm sure that all the candidates are ready to engage with you. Thank you very much.
Let's open it up for questions.
So, here's my question, and I'm going to leave it open to answer to the first person to the answer. What do you find is the most rewarding part of being a 3F2? Okay, so Chief Haley, again, in case you forgot the last 2 seconds. Man, we make the mission happen. I think that's it, right? So the mission does not happen without us. Doesn't matter what squadron you're in, what unit you're in, what position you're filling, they don't get it done without you. They don't get it done without me and everybody else here, right? And so sometimes you don't get the love you need, you don't get that feeling. Until something goes really wrong, and then they're like, hey, where's the training manager? And then you see it. But it's been, the thing I'm proudest of is every unit I've been in, that somehow I knew that I touched that mission. So that's it for me.
Chief Johnson, so I think the biggest thing, my biggest takeaway from being a 302 was turning the enemies into friends. And what I mean by that is a lot of times you tell people your job, like, I didn't even know that was a career field. You know, and you show them what you do, you tell them why you're important, you go out there and you build those relationships, and then you see them come to fruition. That's been the most rewarding thing. What I mean by enemies and friends, you know, they come down they think you're boxing them into these regulations and these AFIs, but then you save them. And you do it in a way that they come back and say thank you for. So those pro supers or whoever those supervisors were that came in and wanted to challenge you, they come back in and say thank you. That's been the most rewarding part.
Next question.
I was gonna scratch it, but.
How important do you feel, Sergeant Susan again from Barstow, how important do you feel getting out of the 3F2 career field is to being in your positions as chiefs, as running the career fields?
I definitely can answer that one. So I think it's important because it makes you even more rounded, right? A more rounded NCO, senior NCO, because you're able to see and network with so many other career fields. Like for me, I was in PME, and so I was able to take the opportunity to learn about everybody else's career field. So when I was able to come back and be a training manager, I was just that much more armed with the knowledge of what they do. And because I could speak their language and just understand where they came from, they were able to listen to me, and then I was able to kind of not manipulate, but work the magic, get them to do what I needed them to do.
For me, I can't say it's been overly important because not only have I, not been able to get out of the career field, I've been kind of stovepiped into being this training. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it really, really depends on where the Air Force needs you at that time and what you're able to do with that, with your skills and abilities. So don't feel you have to leave our career field to progress, because that's not necessarily true. What may be one person's path might not be your path. So do the best that you can do with the path that's put out in front of you.
I'll just piggyback off what he said. It's really what you're doing with where you're at and owning the position that you're put in and making the most of what that position has to offer. So I agree. I didn't have to go and do a special duty to get where I'm at either, but it's work for the unit that you're in. That's the biggest impact that you can have in your career.
I agree with everything everyone is saying, but I also want you all to know, if you have a dream or a vision or somewhere you want to go that's special duty, don't stand back from reaching that and going for it. There's a lot of you in this room that may want to be a first sergeant one day. There's no harm in doing that. Our Air Force needs first sergeants that care. And you can come back into the career field and do great things and have learned and gained so much. And I say that from my experience as a staff sergeant PME instructor. What I gained in those 4 years was pivotal to where I am today, due to the development that I achieved during that 4-year period of time and out of my comfort zone. So it's not critical to promotion, but for me, it's critical to where I am today.
The one thing I can say, is I really didn't step outside the career field. I did as a chief, and I went into the FSS. So it's kind of vice versa for me. The things that I learned as a training manager, I took that with me when I became an FSS superintendent. And it was, for me, I took pride in being a training manager, stepping in a 3FO world and leading a squadron. And I used those tools that I learned as a training manager, things that I learned when I was in maintenance training, things I learned when I was in a unit, and became the type of superintendent I felt that the squadron needed. So my point is that I think that a lot of things that we learn as training managers over the years, all right, that we learn within our own career field, when we can also influence those other career fields that we lead when we go outside our career field, not the career fields influencing us when we come back. So.
You brought up a great point of first sergeants in the DSD program, and I want you to hear it from the horse's mouth, and so yeah, they just call themselves a horse. But I have increased the number of DSD released from our career field. I do not want you to feel stovepiped or stagnant as a training manager. I want you to grow personally and professionally. I have maxed out the number of DSDs that I'm allowed to
from the program that our manning can allow for. But then, as soon as I do that, then there's those ones and twosies and threesies that come in and they say, hey, I would really like to be a CAA, or I'm really looking to be this, or I really want to go to Honor Guard, or I want to go to do this. Would you release me? Absolutely. I tell people there's a whole other world out there. DIA, and I'm sorry, I know that this is your panel and I don't want to take it from you, so just shut it real quick. But DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, if you look out there for an 8P1, that program itself, that's where I came from. I worked at an embassy in Tel Aviv, Israel, before I was a career field manager. That program taught me so much. And there's so much more to learn. And if you're interested in doing those overseas issues and you get to work with the Department of State and network that way, I am not going to hold you back. I'm not that cheap. So I want to leave that with you so that you know that I'm on board to support you in your dreams of what she was saying. There were 5 for class.
Good afternoon, Chief. Staff Sergeant Christina Meyers from the 146 at Channel Islands, California. My question is, what can Guard personnel that are really invested in the career field and in helping in general do when we're immersing ourselves in whatever training that we're allowed to get to, and we also want to have the advantage of other opportunities within the career field, maybe with active duty? For example, NGB is really grateful to us. They allow us to come, even though we may not be a senior master sergeant, they allow us to kind of get into those trainings, but those opportunities are not quite available at our base. And we wouldn't mind going elsewhere to get them, but we're having a hard time trying to find them without the experience that a lot of active duty training managers have and get.
What training are you all wanting?
I mean, in terms of being able to do like a special duty, or being able to work at, say, for example, AFPC or at NGB, and we aren't able to get a stat tour because there's so many applicants.
Definitely a Guard question for your Guard POCs, I think. I was gonna say stat tours, but then you said you don't meet those qualifications, so I'll turn it.
So you're in luck. My office needs 3 PTMs. Those MBAs will be coming out in a couple months, although I know what she's talking about. So you guys talk about active duty centric things, and sometimes as Guard or reserve, we feel like we're left out of that circle. And so when we grow up in the training world, we talk total force, and we like try to live total force, accepting everybody, Guard, reserve, active duty is the same. And so for those opportunities that you're putting out to regular active duty Air Force, I guess what the tech sergeant is asking is, can those be made available to the Guard as well as MBA tours, although I know you guys are running into MBA issues. Can those be put out to the Guard as well as an MBA tour?
Might not have a special duty to give you, but ACC A4 needs another 3F2. So if I can work the manning and the funding to bring someone on active orders and you're interested, come see me. I've done it before. Oh, yes, we're getting an initial skills instructor for Guard and Reserve.
Hi. Chief Wright often says that leaders are readers. What books are you currently reading and why?
book I'm reading right now is Leading from a Distance. I work at staff, and there's only one of me, and I am on the road a lot. And I love to meet with folks, but I can't be on the road 24/7. So how do I bring everyone together? How do I engage everyone? How do I develop everyone from a distance? So that's a book I'm reading right now. Can't remember the author though. I should.
So I'm reading a couple right now. The one I'm really reading just for personal reasons, I don't know if I consider it leadership, but I think it might tie into resiliency, is the happiness hypothesis. So that's a really good one. I highly recommend it. I'm about a third of the way through. Another one I refer to, I wouldn't say I read it front to back, but I kind of refer to it, is called The Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss. So that's always at my desk and when I feel it. And then the last thing I would say I'm reading, but it's more of a 365 thing, is the 365 Stoicism. So something just to kind of read that and reflect on the day before we get started. So before I even open up the Outlook, I read a little passage and just get the day started off right, because that's really going to determine how the day goes.
Hello. So I'm reading with my husband, The 7 Habits by Stephen Covey, the most recent condensed, up-to-date version, and it's pretty good. Have you guys read that? 7 Habits? You know, it's good to read it again, too. Because, you gather different themes every single time you read something. So, yeah, we're learning a lot, so you guys can pick that up.
So the quick read that I'm taking a look at right now is Who Moved My Cheese? I don't know how many of you read that. I think the one most important message that you can probably get out of that book is being vulnerable, right? Because not everything's gonna align to what you perceive it to be, but there'll be life challenges, there'll be things that you're faced with, you need to be adapting. And so at the moment, it may not seem like you're gonna get through it, but whatever you're pursuing, whatever you put your energy to, you'll follow. And so take a quick look at that. It doesn't take very long. I only like short reads. If it's a huge book, I'm only gonna probably read the first 50 pages. I got the message out of it. And she probably just modified his, that message. He not only says that leaders are greedy, he says leaders are learners. And so if you listen to podcasts, you listen to all other things, that's how you continue to grow as a person. So please pursue that. You will hear everybody has their own different journey up here, right? Pursue your own journey. Do things that make you happy. I think in those times, you'll feel like you're successful versus a chevron that you'll have accomplished.
Hello, Sergeant Carter, representing the maintenance training section over at the great state of New Hampshire. I got a 3-part question. It's one, what was the biggest mistake you made as a 3F2? How did you fix it? And what did you take away from it?
Okay, so I think it goes back to communication and how we communicate and how we lead. So when you tell people what they're gonna do, right? So I told a group commander what he was gonna do. And I might have been a tech sergeant. And so he told me what I was gonna do, which was go back to my office and leave this conference room in front of everybody. So one, extremely humbling, right? Embarrassing, a lot. But I took some lessons away from that, right? Is we can get a lot more done when we ask versus tell. And if you're gonna tell something, you better be in a position above the person you're telling. Kind of number 2. And think before you speak, which is a really important lesson to learn. So I went back to his office, leader, that day, and apologized. Nobody asked me to, I wasn't forced to. But when we make mistakes, we need to be accountable for them. And it shows your character, I think, when you are able to say, I was wrong. Especially when nobody's forcing you to say I'm wrong. So that's my thing.
Don't tell a colonel when you're tech sergeant what he's gonna do, it doesn't work out. I won't say this was a mistake, but it's something that I used to do, and Chief Brown corrected me. And I was staff sergeant.
What time?
I was corrected a lot. We'll be in meetings and things, and I'll always have to say something. And so he gave me that bad look one day, and he was like, "Do you always have to say something?" That was a long time ago, and I still remember. So just because you want to say something, you feel like you just can't hold it, you need to learn to hold it. You don't always have to say something, right? Ask your friend, lean over, should I say that? You know? Write it down somewhere and come back to it later, you know, because if you say what you feel in the moment, you may be doing like she did, right? Having to go back and apologize, or, you know, maybe get paperwork, or I never got paperwork, but maybe, why do you always in my business, though? So let me tell you something about this guy, right? So, just to let you guys know, we came in to Air Force, he came in on the 17th of April, 2001, and I came in the 18th of April, 2001. We were both 2W1s when we came in, and we both have made this journey. I'm so happy that we both made Chief at the same time. He is so awesome. Just wanted to shout for that. So he's like my brother.
Chief, you take the mic. So I think that one of the questions was, what is one of the biggest mistakes you ever made? I would say that one of the biggest mistakes I made, and there are many, but the one I'll share with you is complaining and not being a part of the solution. You know, so many times I can remember at Moody Air Force Base, I was complaining, you know, smoke pit, I didn't even smoke, but I was going out there. That's what all the people are. I'm like, man, this is the booze. You just hang out about it. Guess what? I'm with the people that are just so big, they'll make any change. And so I started hanging around with people that who can make the change, and that was my corrective behavior, right? And then I started seeing a whole lot of things happen. My voice was heard, I was invited to conference rooms and to the meetings. And so I would say, once you're invited, please don't lose your voice. I mean, that's for anyone. I mean, you always want to say, we make it rain, bitch, I'm gonna tell you how it is. Now, you see what happened? So make sure your voice is heard, and make sure it's influential. Because that's when the opportunity comes where you can make a lot of changes. That's when you'll become sought after. If no one's looking for you, you may need to do some self-reflection.
I had a couple mistakes I made early on in my career. I wish I could go back and change that, but I just have to learn from them. And the first one I really messed up on was I had thin skin. My passions were tied in with my ego, and it really had an effect on my reality. And not so much that I had a certain instance of telling a colonel something or whatever the case would be, but it really had an effect on my happiness, how I interacted with my airmen, how I interacted with my peers. And there was a lot of wasteful worrying over nothing, where I should have just been able to take criticism and have a deeper look inside myself about what I needed to fix. And the other thing that I would change is, as a senior NCO, as a young senior NCO, I would use people as tools. So I would go talk to people, but I would have an agenda, you know? I would go like, hey, how was your weekend? Oh, yeah, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. And I wasn't even ready to start that conversation. And looking back, there's so many wasted years where I could have really developed, as we saw in PACE, these meaningful relationships, and I didn't. And as I'm coming up to the end of my career, it's kind of sad and humbling for me. So, you know, we need to take care of each other. And in order to do that, you need to have dialogue, and that's just not telling people what to do. Let's get to know.
I would say throughout my career, probably not one of my bigger mistakes, not so much on the, I have them on the professional side, don't get me wrong, but I would say sometimes getting too focused on my job and not making enough time for my family. Because we all have this long list of things that we need to do, right? And sometimes, at least for me anyways, I would forget that I have these people at home that I'm committed to just as much, if not more. So that takes a lot of self-reflection, a lot, and then also prioritizing and making sure that this is what I'm gonna do today. More stuff is gonna come on my plate, but I'm still gonna go home because it's gonna be there tomorrow. And so that would be probably one of the biggest things, and I hear it a lot from my UTMs as well. Like, I don't have time. We have to make time for ourselves as well. And it's not being selfish, it's keeping us healthy for the job as well.
I think my biggest mistake was trying to prove how much I know instead of showing how much I care. And that I have learned over the years is gonna get the most bang for the buck. Show people you care, engage, get them involved. And that goes with our own community and our subordinates and our leaders, but the communities that we're working in with, the 2A community wants to know how much you care, not how much you know. So once they know you care and you're out there to help them, they're gonna play. But if you go in there trying to only show them how much you know by throwing them under the bus, which I've done a few times, it takes a lot longer to build that rapport and relationship and working dynamic that's critical for 3F2 to be effective in a unit.
My name is Joyce James from Keesler Air Force Base. I work in the education office there. I just wanted to get your opinion on where do you think the training world is going? Is it going to merge maybe back into education? Education and training it was before. Is it going to merge back into training? Because I hear a lot of TCO issues, and then you have a system that you're using, and they have AFMs. Are they going to merge? Are we going to have a total force merge of reservists, civilians, enlisted? Is that something you see coming in the future?
I have a lot of optimism that we'll move forward in the direction we need to go.
No, ma'am, I think we just don't know, right? I wish we all had a crystal ball. I think our training force has made great strides in the last couple of years. And what we did when I came in 17 years ago and where we are today is a different picture. 17 years from now, and maybe a different picture from now. You said TCO duty. When we first went to war in Iraq, there was a bunch more testing locations downrange, right? So there were more people that were deploying. For the first time as a staff sergeant, I had a waiver to Iraq in 2003 Porsche. And then we watched those sites kind of drew down, right? I think there's only a handful now downrange. But who knows what happens in the future? Those may go back up, depending on what life or the future looks like. But even then, it was only still so many of us that deployed. So it takes so much time to build to do that mission that you may only do once or twice in your career. It's all right now, but it could change in the future. My opinion.
I just want to say, whatever direction we do go, we know we're going to have awesome communication. So the last year and a half, I haven't had to guess. I've been somewhere as a national functional, we had a different CFM, and I didn't know where we were going. And now it's crystal clear, there's transparency, and it's not gonna be this guesswork or this worrying, or we're gonna get told. So I just wanna say thank you to Chief Lehman and all the Management Functionals for being so transparent and caring and just giving us the information that we need. So thank you.
Hey, y'all, hey. No, I have a legitimately easy question, and one I've been asked, but I would love to hear your take on it. So in traveling, I've had brand new 3 of 2s, fresh out of tech school, and the first question I ask is, how do I get promoted as a 3 of 2? So my question to you is, what should our focus be first as it relates to the career field and then the promotion piece?
What should your focus be, correct? First, your focus should be on learning your job and being the best at that. I think sometimes there's so many distractions going on around us, right? We're trying to be connected with so many people. There's so many mentors out there. I would say find you one that's going to guide you properly. I think a lot of times we don't want to take that mentorship because it's something new and it goes against our beliefs, but you have to understand you need to get new beliefs and goals and desires that line up with the Air Force. And once you find that, you'll find your right path, right? And so I think last time I shared the message, you got to also blaze your own trail. I'm not looking to see what the person to the left or right is doing. I'm looking to see what I focus on. Now, when I do run my race, I'm going to check and make sure no one's running faster than me, because that's going to give me the encouragement to go. Because that means I've got complacent, that means I've got comfortable in the level I'm at. And so just shake it up a little bit, get in the vulnerability, because that's where the growth happens. And then you'll know if you're on the right track. Because promotion is not everything, people.
Right.
I mean, it's nice. I'm looking forward to that first paycheck. No, I'm trying to be focused. Oh yeah, that's a bunch of bull crap right there. That's a different conversation. We should have that conversation later. But not to get off topic, but I got messed up when she said that. Don't forget to have fun doing what you're doing. You know, you get so goal driven. We had our opportunity to have a Pacific strike. We brought 23, 25 staffs and techs, and then that was the question they had. How can I reach this goal in my life? You'll figure it out, but don't lose who you are in pursuing that goal. Because you'll look around and family members that you said you love about, you end up forgetting about. And then you're like, what happened? They're like, shit, you never know. Don't charge that to my professionals. Charge it to my heart. I was being passionate. But you'll forget about them, right? And then you'll be going to promotion, and the people that you really want to be there with you won't.
He already hit it on the head, right? Focus on your job first and learn your job. Once you learn your job and you get comfortable with it, learn something else. When you get comfortable, that's when you become complacent. And then you want someone to give you something, but you're not doing anything different. So when you learn it and you're comfortable with it, you're ready to do something else, okay? So, and then learn that next job and do the best that you can at that and learn something else. Make yourself something or someone that people want to have, not you become a liability because, you know, people say, I don't want this training manager, I want another training manager because this training manager over here knows more than this one over here. And we have that. So don't be complacent, learn your job. The promotions will come, but you have to make yourself a commodity where they want to fight for you, not just you fighting for yourself.
I agree with everything they both said. I think it's awesome, you know, step outside your comfort zone and, you know, do your job. Another thing I would say, a way not to get promoted is to don't step on your people. Don't use them as a tool. Don't use them as a lily pad. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. And you can't sell your soul for that strike because it ain't worth it. You know? So, and lastly, take care of your people. And they take care of you. And then that's not something you should do. You shouldn't say, I'm gonna take care of my people so I get promoted. No, that's just an effect of it. it's not something you're striving for. So that's what I would tell the people that come in the career field. Don't step on people, don't sell your soul, but take care of people.
The only thing I'll add, especially for our new 3F2s that have just recently retrained, is give yourself the time to become the expert in the job, right? Because some of us come in as NCOs, or maybe even our senior airmen, and we were the expert at our old job, but we're not anymore, and we think it's gonna happen overnight or in a month. And I promise you it takes time to become that expert. So allow yourself the time, allow yourself the errors so you can learn and grow from them. Those are all great points.
So I get asked this a lot on a lot of different panels. How do we get promoted? Take challenges, number one, I think, in your career. Like when people offer you jobs, don't be the ones like, oh, I don't want to go to that squadron because it's hard. Cop squadrons, Navy squadrons, sometimes CE squadrons. Some of those will be the best jobs you've ever had. The most rewarding, the most challenging, and you'll learn the most. Each squadron, each mission set, you learn something from. And that breadth of experience is what will allow you to help grow your airman in the future, right? Have an experience to be able to walk that talk that talk, and not just your 3F2s, but other airmen in your units once you're in a senior NCO position, because you're not just a senior NCO for your 3F2s, you're a senior NCO for everyone in your unit that you're assigned to. So don't limit yourself in that way. But yeah, work-life balance. We talk a lot about it. We don't figure it out very well, I don't think. I think I've done better this year in some ways. But I hear a lot of people, I'm trying to get promoted, I'm 12, 16 hours in, and then I've got to go do top 3, and then I've got to go do this, and I've got to do that. Take care of your airmen, your EPR will write itself. And that's what I would say. Take care of your airmen, take care of your mission, your EPR will write itself, and promotions will come.
So just to close that up and add to all the great goodness that's being given up here, I would say, I'm here to say, just because I probably have it, because I have a type A personality, but I have had a total commitment to making a difference in every opportunity that I've been given. And that's how I was raised. Make things better than you found it. And people will see that, and it will shine, and it will make a difference for mission and people. So that commitment throughout the years, a steady commitment, not a, hey, it's time for me to get promoted, I better get on a move and make sure that I'm seen and I'm known and I'm doing all these things. It's a steady, consistent commitment to excellence in all aspects of your life, personal, professional, self-improvement, family, whatever it is. And do things because they matter and they make a difference and they make you feel good. That community involvement, if you're doing it for a bullet, it's the wrong reason to begin with. If it turns into one, great, but do it because it matters, and the results will come.
Here's the thing that I want to say. It may not be politically correct, but here's the thing, is that, well, when I talk to our senior NCOs, and our junior NCOs, and I tell them about my experiences, what I've seen. I understand where you're at. I understand as training managers, being in maintenance units, when they look past you, right? When you're busting your hump out there and they look past you, trust me, I do get it. I understand that. But continue to try to do your best. I get very passionate about this because in the Air Force, I've seen things go the wrong way. And what I mean by that is that too many times I've seen in the Air Force where people get promoted, right? And they don't even know their job, right? They're the ones that, if you go to their work center and see what their work center is all about, their work center is garbage, all right? If you scratch beneath the surface, they don't know anything about their job. But what they do is that they leave their work center, go volunteer, go be in front of somebody's face, play the political game, things of that nature. And we see a lot of those people get promoted, and those who are back at the work center, busting their hump, all right, are the ones that's getting looked over, or they just totally give up and retire. I've seen too many good senior NCOs leave this Air Force because of that. And it's not fair. It is not fair. And yes, the Air Force is trying to change and try to go back to a performance-based evaluation. But still, when you got the human factor in it, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You know, I wish there was a magical pill that everybody can take and everything would be perfect. But this is just the world that we live in. You know, I'm sorry to be a Debbie Downer on this, but I just want to be real with you. All right, but as training managers, as senior CEOs, this is one thing I want to stress. If you're a senior CEO and you're supervising a workshop, right, and if you put yourself in for a quarterly award, there's no reason why you should not put that NCO in for a quarterly award as well. Because you know that NCO is the one that's doing the job. If you're doing that, you're wrong. If you're doing that, you're wrong. Just take care of your people, try the best, and do the best that you can do, and hopefully things work out for you. That's all I have to say.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Bill from 12th Sanford Base. We were just wondering how you diversify your job-related bullets on EPRs when you're stuck in a rotation for 2 years. I get like the volunteering and stuff like that, but just job-related, how do you diversify that?
I spend more time crafting bullets on stuff that's not day-to-day stuff, that separates what are the extra things that are being done to make things better for people or mission, and then tying everything to that unit's mission or that wing's mission.
So, second that, I look at a lot of APRs, seen a lot of APRs, and I see like 99% CDC pass rate. Tested 167 people, 99% CD pass rate. Okay, so did 555 people out here. So your EPRs all look the same when your bullets are like that. So it's, yes, you did CDCs, yes, you passed it. That's important, but are they doing them faster? Was the average score 82 and now it's an 86? How are you linking it to what the unit does? That unit mission doesn't happen without you. We talked about that, right? So if that defender is securing $10 million of weapon systems and 9 million square acres, guess what you help them do? So it's not like maintenance does it really well, I think. I think our other verticals lack it. So when I look at the EPR, so it's got to be linked. And think about what you're doing that not every other training manager is doing over that 2-year period.
I'm just gonna say, what are you improving? What are you setting as goals for that unit when you get there to make it better? So that way it's not just the CDCs, it's not just upgrading people, but what other special projects related to training are you getting after and capturing that?
I think those are all good points. We really need to look at the big picture. A lot of times we get tied into our little training bubbles, and we don't really know what's going on in the units that we service. So for maintenance training specifically, I would say go talk to your analysis people. Go sit through some of their briefings and see what they're talking about. Go listen to some of the missions that are happening within your unit for maintenance training, and really tie those into how you're developing and servicing and putting maintainers out on the flight line to get those missions happening. I know a lot of times we don't like to loosely tie bullets, but you have an effect on that maintenance group. You have an effect on those units that you service. So tie to the big picture. And the other thing I would say is there's things that you're going to be passionate about that you're going to do year after year. Not because you care about the bullet, but because you care about it. We talk about that's a good thing. But you don't want to copy and paste that bullet. You know what I'm saying? You might be doing it and you don't even put that on your EPR. You're doing that for the greater good. You're doing that for you. Just be cognizant of what's going on in your report.
So I want to say stop being lazy, right? Because your duty descriptions all you do is copy and paste that, right? Every year, duty title changes, doing same duty stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. And the bullet, you guys need to get outside of your cubicle, outside of what's in your four little walls around you and talk. And, you don't have to just have 3F2 mentors. You can have mentors in other career fields, okay? Because sometimes they're able to give you a perspective that a 3F2 may not be able to give you. So look outside of this career field and talk to the people that you work with day in and day out. When your EPR comes around, I can't tell you guys how many of the different organizations around the base, the senior NCOs or the chiefs contact me and say, hey, can you help me? I don't know what this person does. Why don't they, right? You guys should be engaging with them. You guys should be talking to them. So seek mentors within your organization. They can help you out a lot. I know I've had a lot of different mentors, so that's what can help you in diversifying your job. They can help you open your eyes to the bigger mission.
So how many of y'all have sat actually in murder boards? Just raise your hands. So those are a great way to see what matters most to those chiefs within your organization, what matters most to those people that are looking at work. So go to those murder boards and really focus and learn how to write. Some of us as UTMs, we don't write on anybody until we're a master sergeant, and by then you're kind of behind the power curve. So you need to go and you need to start writing, and it ain't magic. You ain't gonna say, I wanna be a good writer, and the next day you're gonna be good. You need to practice, you need to fail, you need to get up, you need to do it again. And that, it really comes down to helping yourself and helping your people. And you're not gonna win every single time, but you definitely gonna win if you don't put yourself in it. So take those and take those experiences.
I just want to give an example of using your senior leaders who have gotten to a position, a job, a rank, whatever you're looking for, special duty in the group, or whatever it is, seek them out for their assistance. There's not many people I know that would say no to help. And just as an example, I have a certain staff sergeant at my last base that did not leave me alone. He was always, this person was always IMing me and calling me and sending me 1206s and EPRs and what can I do more? What can I do different? Can you give me feedback? I send it through my chain of command, but I want your 3F2 perspective. This individual was in CE, not in maintenance training. But from day one, he sought me out aggressively, forced me to help him. He's a tech sergeant now. Oh, is he here? Sorry.
No, he's not here.
He's an amazing 3F2. Amazing. He earned it.
He got the maintenance covered, ma'am.
Good.
Sergeant Ruth, Cody, Rescue Squad in Media, First Base, Georgia. First, I just want to say thank you to all of you for fighting for us and giving us guidance and direction. And we always talk about the here and the now and getting promoted and moving to different positions, but the Air Force is not going to be the rest of our lives. So what are you guys looking forward to after retirement and after you get out?
I only got 17 years
I'll take that one. I got about 6 more weeks before I retire. Actually, I'm looking forward to doing nothing. But here's the thing I can say is that that has changed since I first came in the Air Force. Is that the Air Force is now better equipping our people to transition out into the civilian world. I mean, it's awesome, the amount of programs that's out there, the amount of information that's out there. I mean, it's tremendous. You know, it is tremendous. For me personally, I'm just gonna take it easy for a little while and then find out what I'm gonna do when I grow up.
When that day comes, I have yet to decide when that will be. Definitely not in the next 2 years. So I I plan on taking a little bit of time off, but I already said I have a type A personality, so I won't be staying at home doing nothing. I'll have to find something to do, but I think teaching is in my future. I love the light bulb on switch that happens with adult education, and I want to play a part with that, either future military perspective or civilian sector. So I've got my education, I'll be working on certifications, and I'll be taking full advantage of the transition programs that are offered, and I can't stress how important that is for your own success in the future. One thing I want to say before I pass it on is a lot of times we're told, get a degree that matches your career field, that's the only thing that matters. You have to look at your future. If you're not going to do training management for the rest of your life, this is your Air Force career, you can love it to death, but if you don't want to do it later, what do you want to do later? My husband's a crew chief, he's a first sergeant now, but he doesn't want anything to do with crew chief duties when he retires. So he did not get his degree in that. He got something that will be worthwhile to him. So think about that when you're deciding which career path as far as education.
Okay, so I'm gonna dye my hair a color that's not natural. And then I'm not gonna put it up every day, unless I really want to. Yeah, and my nails, like, so I see stuff on Instagram, or the Insta, as my daughter calls it, or the gram. And so they'll be like sparkly and shiny, and I'm gonna grow them out, and I'll go change like once a week if I want. Outside of that, I'm gonna go live on the island for a year, my first year. So one thing I would say is plan financially for what you want long term now. So that when you're ready to retire, the world is your oyster and you can do what you want, not what you have to do. And take the job that you want, not the job you have to. I don't know exactly what I'll do. Probably I'll put the lines out, but I'm gonna go travel for a year and see what comes up. And then when I find a job that tweaks my interest, that's the job I'm gonna take. And I'm gonna join for culture, not for the paycheck.
I'm not gonna grow my hair out and color it. No, so my wife tells me that since she's gonna be she followed me for 20 plus years and we followed hers, that she works for the DOJ, so I have no problem being independent. But in truth, I would say, like Chief Brown was talking about, the transition programs are awesome. So I started going last year, and I'm gonna go every year, because there's a plethora of information. So if you haven't gone to TAPS and you're over the 15-year mark, I strongly suggest you go ahead and go and start that process, because I was looking at the faces of some of these chiefs and colonels that I was there with, and they just looked scared. And it's a scary process no matter what, and we try to prepare as much as we can. But if you're waiting till the last minute to prepare, that's just not good for you or your family. So I would say definitely go ahead and start as soon as you can, and I'll keep going and fine tuning everything until I actually leave and start my next adventure.
Well, I have been in only 17 years. I still, this body right here is getting old, right? I know I look good, but. So, what I want to do right now is do adult education, and it's really, really good. I love it. I want to do that on the outside, but also I just want to go around and be a motivational speaker, and truthfully, just want to go around and talk to people because I love talking. And just inspiring those who have lost their way, or have lost their confidence or motivation. I just want to go around and encourage them and just, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna be a life coach. I just figured it out. Thank you, guys.
Are you my sister? So, as she said, we've been in the Air Force for 17 years. We have this 3-year commitment rank to chief, and we're all kind of, I'm growing up each and every day, right? And I have a true desire that I want to travel the world and do motivational speaking. I really want to help people reach their full potential. And they have to pick me up in the black collar service, fly on the jet, all the proper circumstances. I need that in my life. Just to be honest, you asked the question, I thought I would do. So that's what I want to do, is just go and help people reach their full potential. That's my desire.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Warnicki from FE Warren. So I work in the cops squadron, and this is my first time ever being in UTM. How do you deal with toxic leadership? I put my hand out and I get my whole upper body ripped off, like, every time.
So that's an interesting topic, right?
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
So toxic leadership is one of those things that can be trained, right? Surely I can relate to that in a sense, but you ask the question, how can you overcome it? And I think that's about being courageous and seeking out people that can help you if you feel like you can't help yourself. I also would say that, sometimes we may look at it as being toxic, but maybe they're just being directive. It depends on what type of lens you have on. And mainly I would share that sometimes we expect perfection from people when we're not perfect ourselves. And then we try to relate that and say it's toxic leadership, when really they're trying to motivate you and uplift you. There's ways of doing it, as Pace shared, there's that mandate and there's that organic style. Me personally, I like an organic style. And hopefully the people in the pack have to know that, based off of our relationships that we've established. But then at the end of the day, I have a position I need to take, and that's the mandate, let's go get it done. So find your way, look for people that are around you that have observed that behavior, maybe someone that can have influence into that toxic leader, and say, hey, enough is enough, you need to cut that crap out.
So, believe it or not, I have been accused of being a toxic leader. And when you tell people stuff that they don't want to hear, if you're trying to get them to do their job, you instantly become a toxic leader, right? Even if you're just trying to do what you're charged with as an NCO and senior NCO. So we need to make sure that we're not using those terms loosely, because when you start using those terms loosely because someone is holding you accountable, that's when, a lot of doors are starting to open and people are listening to you. You just need to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and then if there is toxic leadership, it will be seen.
Leadership is a toxic leadership. So I would say, I would say two things. One, get a sounding board. Get somebody on that base at 302 or somebody that you can look up to talk to, and to run stuff by and to vent. Because you can't hold all that stuff in. You can't let that fester and affect your personality and who you are, as a person. So I'm not saying that you don't or you do have toxic leadership that you're dealing with. Your perception is that you do. I'd say get a sounding board and talk to somebody, whether it's just to bounce the ideas off of them or just get it off your chest. And the other thing I would say to do, one thing I'd like to do when I was doing this training, was I'd bring people in right before they left. So they're in a PCS out of my maintenance training. And I'd close the door and say, okay, what do I need to work on? What do I need to change? How do I need to improve? What do I need to do to grow as a leader to be more successful? I know I'm not gonna have an effect on you because you're leaving my maintenance training section, but I can help the next, what you say to me is gonna have an effect. And they would tell me straight up, and sometimes it hurt my feelings. And I'd be like, I didn't, but the thing is, I didn't know it. And so you might need to have a one-on-one with somebody because they might not even know they're doing what you say they're doing. Or they might not be meaning to do it to the level that you think they're doing. So a one-on-one, as long as you do so professionally, respectfully, I don't think it really hurts.
I don't have a lot of experience with toxic leadership. I have a lot of experience with leadership I didn't care for. And it does take a whole lot of positive attitude and effort to keep working through those things. Sounding boards, all those things, mentorship from outside. Man, you have to have courage. If something illegal, or unethical, immoral, what she said, if anything like that is going on, it's gotta be reported. We have to have the courage, and any AFSC, any rank, to call that out. So hopefully, if there's anything like that, through mentorship, from others and seeking support, you'll be guided effectively to handle that, because no one should have to go to work feeling like they're getting their arms and head ripped off every day. So not knowing the specific situation, I think there's more specific guidance or advice you can be given by someone who knows what's going on. But in general, I would say that we're not always going to be happy with the decisions our leaders make, but we're promoted into these positions to make tough decisions with as much information as possible. So just look at that perspective. I was put into a unit recently before I went to ACC because someone was removed for certain issues going on within the unit. And I'll tell you, they didn't care how much I knew, but they saw how much I cared, and it rallied the whole team together to move forward until that next leader could come in. So that's helpful, if that's helpful.
We got one more question? One more question, sir? Oh, 2 minutes? Okay, we got time for one more question.
Chief Reese is gonna be busy.
Yeah, got somebody back up there.
We can stay up here.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Potter from 33 for the training squadron at Keesler. I know some of y'all aren't ready to retire, but when you get to that point, some closer than others, what type of legacy statement or act do you want your people to have remembered you for? Even if it's something that you've done like 5 years ago or something, what statement or act do you want people to have remembered you for?
Can I, something you're retired? Honestly, even though I can't stand her, when I see Chief Taylor up here, I'm serious, I'm being honest. The reason why I say that is that I know where Denise came from when she was a training manager. When she first came in, me as a supervisor, also Brian Williamson, Larry Carr, there's quite a few others that's in this room right now. When I see those individuals as senior COs, right? When I see those individuals supervising, it makes me smile. And not only that, is that when I get a Facebook message from somebody like Larry Carr, who I haven't talked to in 15 or 16 years, and he tells me what I did to change his career, what I did to help him, that right there, I mean, that to me, that's all. That if I can do that for anybody, just one person, then it's all worth it. So having those individuals come back, or just seeing those individuals grow up and be outstanding senior COs, those that you mentor, those that you help, to me, that is rewarding for me. So that's.
It kind of stole a little bit I was gonna say, but ultimately it's just that I cared about them, and when they needed me, or either my time or my advice or training, any of that I was there for them, and I gave them the time that they needed, no matter what. And so that's really just that's kind of why I'm in the job too. I just like to help people ultimately. So that's what I hope, if nothing else. What I did see is that I cared.
I'm just gonna echo that I cared and that I was fair. A lot of times when I was younger, senior NCO, they'd say, Chief John or Sergeant Johnson, you look like a jerk until I got to know you. And just to know that they're able to come and talk to me and have an open one-on-one conversation, for them to say that I was fair to them. And if I see them later on down the road and we talk about working together and it's fond memories, that's important to me, to be fair and for people to know they care about it.
So I am my training managers here from Lake and Heath, right? And some that worked with me before. And they'll tell you that tough love, that's what I want them to remember me for. They know I love them like they're my own family, but they know I'm gonna keep it real and I'm gonna tell them how it is. I'll sugarcoat it with a smile. I'll sugarcoat it with the bad news. And I give it to them like they need it. It depends on the person too, right? Everybody's not the same, so I deal with each person differently, but they can tell you that what they can remember about me is the tough love that I gave them.
So I was sitting up here listening to you and saying legacy statement, I thought I had to go and do some research. And then I realized a thought came to mind, and that was pretty much, I want people to remember his hand. What I mean by that I was humble, I was approachable, and I would make it happen.
If anybody have any additional questions for the individuals on the panel, you can please come up during the break with some Spencer. What do we have next? Is it? Departure. Okay, so